All right. Hey, before we kick it off, I had a call with Robert this morning. He's like, I said, hey, I got to get running. I got to talk with Clint and J.C. And he's like, well, I'll join you guys. I was like, awesome. Let's do
Yeah.
this. So the meeting just got better. But hey, Robert, when we get into it, I'll just ask you a little bit about your affiliation with with SEALFIT. And I mean, I'm going to post this for internal use, but if there's some good clips, if I can have I'll probably ask my son Max if he can do it, carve out some clips. Are you guys okay if I post this on social media?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, okay, cool. All right, well, hey, this is what are we going to call this? A special edition Argent Alpha Unscripted with three studs and a co-host and a host. So, um, hey, the reason we're getting together today is two of our members, Clint Murray and J.C. Kiser, recently did the SEALFIT event, the 6 hour event in Southern California. A lot of our guys have read the book Unbeatable Mind by Mark Divine. And I was just talking with Robert, and Robert's got some background with the SEALFIT. So before we kick it off, welcome Robert and Clint and JC. And
Yeah.
Robert, just give us a quick your affiliation with SEALFIT and Mark Divine before we dive in, just to give context to some of the guys who may not know it.
Yeah, I'm the oldest guy to ever attempt or finish the Kokoro Crucible, which is 50 hours nonstop. And afterwards, it's all Navy SEAL instructors. And they said, hey, why don't you stay on and be an instructor? And so I stayed on and I was with SEALFIT in that capacity for 7 years as one of those guys yelling at Clint and J.C. this last weekend. So they have a different probably perspective of me now, thinking that I was one of those guys in the mud pit or in the grinder. And anyway, so it's so wonderful for me to see that these two guys challenged themselves and took on a big opportunity and then did so well. And I'm sure that they could have done 12 or 24 if they'd wanted to.
That's awesome. And you guys have to note Robert's cap, SEALFIT cap,
Yeah.
Argent Alpha t-shirt. So we got some fun bookending going. Well, I'm just going to kick off some questions, and then you guys, everybody join in, and Robert, if there's anything, interrupt, add on. But I'm curious, Clint and JC, about your decision to commit. Like, what led to the decision to do this thing in the first place? And Clint, why don't you kick it off?
Yeah. My decision was made in a split second after JC invited me. I didn't even think, I just said yes. And this is something I've heard about for years, and I've known it as something I've always wanted to do and haven't. So he just like, I'm so thankful that he even thought of me because it was a no-brainer. I probably said yes before he finished asking. So that was my decision. It's been a long time coming. So.
That's cool. Well, I'm glad I asked you first. So, JC, take us through your decision before you contacted Clint and what led to it.
We did through Argent Alpha, kind of an abbreviated crucible event that Robert, of course, led, and it was interested me, and I heard about Kokoro shortly after that, I think, and looked into it and was completely intimidated by the event. And Jag, I think you said that's good. Good to be intimidated, scared, and take on some challenges. So I knew Clint was in the area, and it's true. I DM'd him, and he said yes. And then I think the next question was, "What's this all about?" So grateful that Clint did it because I'm not sure I would have if there wasn't someone else there and partner in crime.
No, that's cool. Cool. So talk a little bit about the preparation and training, because my guess is the physical part. You tell me if I'm wrong. The physical part was maybe the less arduous part is the mental side of things, maybe. And I don't know if that's true or not, but I mean, I know you guys both physically and you're in great shape, but talk about the prep, physical, mental, and mindset, spiritual, whatever came into play in your preparation.
I'll let JT go.
Okay.
Me.
Yeah, go ahead. Either one of you guys.
Yeah,
JT.
I called Robert and talked to him a little bit about it and his experience, and then listened to his book. And for a few weeks felt like I was talking to Robert about Kokoro, and that was fascinating. And then there was few follow-up calls and some questions about which one to select, because there's anything from 6 hours to 50. And the preparation was after that, we decided on a 6, thinking that we could probably do more, but there's some trade-off to training time and recovery time, and six felt like a pretty good starter set. And so I continue to do regular Twin Town training with some modifications that Robert suggested, and then added in a Murph on Sundays for 6 or 7 weeks.
Wow. So Murph every week for 6 or 7 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that alone is next level. That's like a once a year thing for most people, if once a year.
Yeah, it was taxing. Got a little bit faster. I did the Murphs. I did it Twin Town with a big group, but after that I did it on my own, which probably was a mistake, because I think there's some things that would come out. First of all, you go faster than those people around, and second of all, I think people can help each other tweak their training a bit, technically should someone else is wrong.
Yeah. How about you, Clint?
Well, in typical fashion, there wasn't a lot of thought into mine. I just knew it was going to be suffering, so I just started immediately suffering. And I don't know if it was wise or not, but I did 2 Murphs every week and up for about 6 weeks and before, and actually started really enjoying Murph. I knew we were going to have one of the rifles, or I thought we were. So, instead of a 10-pound rifle, I was carrying a 15-pound, so I tried to really overdo everything and make sure I was prepared. My rucks just went, 3 times a week. And on Saturdays, I think for about 5 Saturdays in a row, I kind of mimicked the entire thing, just less time, but I did each event. So I would do, the PT standards, a Murph, and then I did like a 5-6 mile ruck, and then some flutter kicks and things like that. So I felt very prepared, but just the unknown. And so, no matter how much you prepare, the grinders still hurt. You're only going to do so many flutter kicks before it just starts hurting, and you got to hold your feet up. So
The irony is that we did thousands of pull-ups training for this, and on the day we did less than 15.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, having something, the benefit was having something to prepare for. Like, I probably got over focused like the last few weeks. It's just, you almost can't think of anything else. So I was just zeroed in the last few weeks. So, but it was so nice just to have something to train for, it was a specific event that I knew I was prepping for. So,
Yeah, that's great.
yeah.
Talk about mental stuff, mental preparation, or in the time leading up to the event, like doubts, second guessing, negotiating with yourself. Like, did you guys have much of that, or if you did, how'd you deal with it? Talk a little bit about that.
They sent some direction on, make sure you come with a really strong why. They directed us to read some of Mark Devine's books, both of which were helpful. But there was a fair amount of nerves, and wasn't exactly clear what we were going to do, perfectly. So I'd say my family wasn't, was a little nervous too. They didn't, you're going to California to hang out with some SEALs for the weekend. That and what I told them I was most excited about was trying to withstand some of the pressure of the coaches over you, and that seemed odd to them. So, and you can't practice that at all. So, I think the combination of talking to Robert, reading Devine's book, and at the end of the day, faith in your training, and just the the commitment that you're not going to quit. There wasn't, no one's going to quit. unless there's a medical event. And it's just the question of how fast to go.
I have a question, Clint. You brought up this idea of having an event to train for, and I don't know if one of you guys recommended this book, but I'm reading Wild at Heart by John Eldredge, and he talks about men need a battle to fight, an adventure to live, and a beauty to rescue. And what specifically resonates is this battle to fight and an adventure. I think this seems like it combined both, a battle to go out and fight and an adventure to go after. I don't know if you guys have read that book, but you've read it? Yeah. What do you think? Do you think it seems like they tie in well together?
It's so true. Yeah, it's so true. We need something, the pursuit of a worthy ideal. It all ties together, It's just something to shoot for, something to challenge us always. So,
Yeah.
agreed. Yeah.
If I could mention to all the listeners out there, I hope that you'll take that, because men drift. And if you don't have a battle, if you don't have a commitment, if you don't have something that's going to press you and stretch you, you'll probably just drift and have your daily excuses. But once you say, I'm going to commit to this, and it scares you, it unnerves you, it challenges your manhood, challenges you mentally. Once you do that, you go into a whole nother level of life and thinking and focus. And then you find guys like you that you want to hang with to relate, and your life changes. And so many men are afraid to commit to a hard thing that challenges them because they're afraid to fail or be embarrassed or become ashamed. But an athlete knows that you always lose before you win. So you've got to hop in and start. And I hope that is, if nothing else from today is taken away, that as Eldredge says, you have to have those three things. And you need to be around guys that have those same three things and be in that community.
You know what? I would add to that real quick, Robert. That's perfect. And this is the physical realm of that. But just like I was talking with Jag the other day, you can't lose if you don't stop, or if you don't quit. And we have to take that in every area. So this is the physical area, but it really needs to go. And I think that's why it's so emotional for a lot of people is, hey, if I can do this, what can I do in other areas? And that's really the important thing. And we do need the physical as well, but what else can I do with this? So,
Hey, to piggyback on that, Robert, your book covers it. I know Divine talks about it, but that taps into the 20X and what you're capable of. Robert, you just, for people who don't know, can you talk a little bit about what that 20X concept's all about?
It's a wonderful thing. 20X means there is 20 times more potential in you that you two just found out today. There's 20 times more potential in you than you've ever allowed someone to bring out of you. So aligning yourself with the right coach, the right guy, the right mentor who will stretch you and take you into places that you're insecure about and say, you can do it and I'll walk you through it. Once you get in that realm, you'll never know what you're capable of because it just gets broader and broader and broader. But most of us will not do that because we're afraid of the pain. And the pain is social pain. Oh, I'm going to have to change. It's my mental pain. I'm going to have to give up my excuses. It's my physical pain. What am I have to train for? It's my emotional pain. I don't know how I'm going to feel, in training or in getting up to that. Like you guys trained and then you got there and the unknown was going on. And it's the unknown when those guys are staring at you, they tell you to get to attention. Then they run you in over the hill and then they make you stand at the top of the hill, I think. Is that what they did with you guys?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, then they make you stare at the grinder and say, this is going to be the worst time of your life. And then they run you down the hill to that place. And then all of a sudden they talk to you real nicely. And all of a sudden all hell breaks loose. That no matter how much you train, you can't get ready for that. And that's the point. Yeah. And so men need to have someone say, you can do this. You're better than you know. You have more capability than you know. Trust me, let me take you into the fire and show you that you're so much more capable of doing so many things than you've put the lid on yourself so far. And we need to take that lid off of your life.
I'll tell you, it's really well said, Robert. And I would say we saw kind of firsthand people of all shapes and sizes and ages going way, way out of their comfort zone.
Right.
And as you saw, we did a few things with the Kokoro folks, and I'm not sure the body type was radically different than ours, but the look in the eye and the no quit was jumped off the page, and pretty cool to be seeing people way out there beyond their comfort zone. And the only other thing I'd add is unbelievable that doesn't happen very often until this stage of life. I mean, some of those things we ought to be teaching kids to do, to see, to feel. And there's just not, there hasn't been, I haven't seen much of that.
In Florida, there's a group called Band of Brothers, and they do father-son ones. And it's just awesome to take your kid and, walk with him through it. And they're watching you suffer and you help them, encourage them. And it really changes the life of the young people to go through it with their mom or their dad.
Yep, I believe it.
Yeah, this is, I hope anybody listening to this is writing down notes and walk. This is inspiring, man. It's like just seeing guys do hard things and succeed. And succeed is just, I don't care what your times are, how many pull-ups you did. Like, you guys just went out, did it. That there's something about that. I mean, it's more than a checkbox, but it's a big ass checkbox. There's just something about that. Hey, talk about the game day now. It's event day. I don't know what time you guys woke up. Did you sleep at all the night? Did you sleep at all the night before? What were the butterflies like? Did you eat food? Just that whole before you actually got out of the car. Like, talk about a little bit about that whole part, because I think that's probably, Robert, you talk about guys getting scared. I gotta believe that's you're by yourself in your head with all the, Robert calls them snakes, just chattering, but maybe not. You tell me. What Clint, talk about your.
Yeah, no, the night before was probably, one of the worst. Just unknown. No, I didn't sleep. And my alarm was set for 3 a.m. because it was about an hour drive and we had to be there at 6, and I was wide awake all night. So just unknown, nervous. Pulled into the parking lot and I saw everybody else, and that was a little comforting to me. I was like, all right, well, we're all about to suffer. The check-in process took a while, and everybody going up there and I forget what it was, but some people were messing up, and so they're starting to count, burpees, more burpees for everybody, or whatever it was, because we didn't write what we had on our bag or whatever, so just the anticipation was it. And then like you guys said, the run there, just the anticipation to get there. We run, we go over the hill. You're already like going over this hill a little bit. You're like, oh wow, I'm already winning, and we haven't even started, So it was great. And then just getting to the grinder, So there was a lot of anticipation. I was just ready to just start getting sprayed and yelled at by that point, like, let's go. I want this. So.
How about you, JC?
I'd agree with that. I didn't sleep much either. It's funny. I asked Clint if he's getting a hotel room. He's like, I don't think I need a hotel room. I'm not, I paid $200 and I'm not going to be sleeping anyway.
Yeah.
But I checked my equipment twice. I kept having this vision that I'd be getting up Saturday morning and have one boot, or with a shirt, or so I took equipment a bunch of times. I took a dry run there, driving from the hotel to the place, and actually drove up on where the grinder was by accident, and there's nobody there. And I saw some of the Kokoro guys, 10 hours in or whatever, and so that was interesting. But the drama, for me, the best drama I think of the whole thing was, as you described, you finally wait in the parking lot. There's a lot of chatter. You finally get running. That feels pretty good just to move. Finally, you go up the hill. You look over the grinder. They give sort of a visualization exercise. You jog down. Hooyah! Everybody's got to give a hooyah. Commander Divine. He rolls in, gives a speech. It's about the best coach's speech absolutely the best coaching speech I've ever heard. You're ready to run through a wall for the guy. And then the sirens go off, the smoke starts, the water comes. I think the coaches were shouting from every angle. So it gets muddy super fast. And it is kind of chaos, but and hard, like got hard fast. That was the other thing I noticed is, it was loud, chaotic, and hard. And we had, an hour in and hadn't really done anything yet, but fatigued. So that theater was pretty interesting. I loved it. That part of it.
Yeah.
Hey, talk about the grinder. What is the grinder?
So the grinder is it's an area that looks like about the size of a football field. There are logs positioned down there in different spots. There's the pull-up bars are set up. The cold water baths are set up, and then there's a kind of gravel area, and there's a lot of mud. And so most of the push-ups, sit-ups, physical stuff took place inside that football field.
Okay, so that's the arena you guys stepped into.
Yeah, we got ran through a full hour, after Commander Devine's awesome speech, and like JC said, I was just trying to take that in. I was like, this is awesome. I just wanted to like take it in. It was probably a half hour too. You're standing there, you're nervous, you're tired, your legs are starting to hurt. And but they ran us through like a full hour of PT just before anything else. And it was just up, down, push-ups, flutter kicks, all these different things, and it hurt no matter who you were. Like it already got to you, it already hurt. So
The goal of that is to get you out of your comfort zone
yeah,
and to freak you out so that you don't have your confidence anymore.
yeah,
And so if you go to Navy SEAL Hell Week, the guns go off like that Sunday night at 5 o'clock, and the kids are on a concrete grinder, just a big square, and all of a sudden smoke bombs, commie music, dogs barking, everything goes off, and they keep you on that concrete grinder for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, just doing that, just to warm up the group for what's going to happen for the next 5 days.
yeah,
So that's why they want to give you sort of a mental experience of, wow, this is really something I could never have anticipated, which gets you out of your confidence zone.
yeah,
And what you remind these guys that it was dry dirt when you started, and within 10 minutes you're in mud.
yeah,
And so that is also something on purpose to say, wow, this is really dirty. And you go, oh yeah, you're just beginning, you're going to stay that way for a long time.
yeah,
So it's all meant psychologically, emotionally to get your attention. You could do the physical work, but if we find a guy that doesn't like water in his face, then we just put more water in his face. And so, I go around spraying guys in the face to find out what kind of guy I got. And whatever it is that he doesn't want to do, whether it's, bear crawls or it's, flutter kicks or it's, whatever, a squat with your rifle over your head kind of thing. If they don't want to do it, then you just make them do it more and smile at them and say, you want to quit now? And you just get in their head. And it levels out everybody that no one's going to be comfortable. And that's where they can really start.
yeah.
Hey, Robert, I'm curious if, as a coach, if Clint and J.C. hadn't done this yet, what's the best way to stay off your radar as a coach so you don't? Is there tactic strategies, or what advice would you give anybody considering doing this to just?
When I train kids, I say you come in with no weakness. So if swimming's your weakness, you don't come in until swimming is your strength. If PT is your weakness, then don't go in until PT is your strength. So that when they do all the extracurricular stuff to you, you can stay in your lane, which is they're trying to get in my head and they can't break me.
Mm.
And so you make sure that when you're on the ground or whatever you're doing, you smile. And for me, they sprayed water in my face. So I took it in my mouth and I spit it back out of them. I said, bring it. And they left me alone.
Yeah.
Well, it's not going to bug him, so don't do it to him anymore.
Yeah.
So
I think JC and I both we said we did that. Like I knew if I was getting sprayed in the face, I was just gonna smile at him. Like I tried to open up. Yeah, give me more. It's
Give me
feeling
more, yeah.
good. So
It's the same thing in the ice bath. We
yeah.
have guys that don't want to don't put their head underwater in the ice bath. You guys didn't experience this, but when we found guys that had a phobia, water phobia, we had a gallon plastic, like a Clorox bottle, with the top cut off, and we would make them stick the mouthpiece, the pouring in their mouth, and go underwater and stay there. If you don't like it, you can stay there for a minute or two and just breathe like you would scuba in an ice bath underwater. Just stay there. And they would be, your hand had to be on the lid, so they'd keep you touching your hand. You're good, to see if the guy would freak out. Because
Yeah.
we wanted to make everybody then have a success in their life, that they did something that they knew they couldn't do, and they could walk away with a win versus walking away with that same kind of fear. Because we want everyone to walk away saying, I was afraid, but I shouldn't have been as afraid, and I'm stronger than I thought I could be.
Mhm.
So, guys, you started around 6 a.m. is when the event started. So you're done around noonish. Talk about that sort of, call it 12:30-ish to bedtime. Like, what'd you do? What'd you think about? What'd you eat? How'd you move? How'd you rest? Just that initial 6, 7, 8, 9 hours afterwards. JC, go to kick it off.
Yeah, so it started at 6, or at least the registration was at 6. You can't wear a watch, so didn't really ever know what time it was during the event. And I think we finished at 2, because by the time you get everybody registered, maybe it was close to 2. And then they had a sort of like graduation ceremony, and then we had to get right back to where we started. So we probably got out of there at 3 or 4 o'clock. Yeah. You say your goodbyes to everybody and shake their hand, and I walked back to my car, and every time I reached down to untie my shoes, something cramped up. I'm like, how am I gonna get home here? But if I sat down, my abs cramped up, and this is after we drank close to 2 gallons of water. So, I guess dehydrated, but I don't know how. And so finally got into my car, drove to the convenience store. I got some more to drink and some food. And I got back to the hotel, walked a little bit, made some calls, and then shut her down. and woke up, 10 hours later.
Makes sense. How about you,
But
Clint?
I woke up, I felt pretty good, and felt like my head was racing a little bit about all the things that happened and learned and gonna do. And most of Sunday was about that, just reflecting, thanking the people that helped get there, and reflecting on the event and going forward. And then I made the mistake of watching the Instagram of the Kokoro guys coming in, the 50R guys coming in, and they're getting secured. And we knew, we had conversations with a few of those guys, and to see them 24 hours later, standing, and they finished on a log carry that was just
Brutal.
just absolutely amazing that they're able to do it. And so that was pretty cool. That was the most event for me.
You know what? I did the same thing, JC. I watched them get secured after the 50 hour. Like, it was emotional for them. That's a long time to suffer like that. And you could see they were just beat, broken, and just changed, for sure. So it was awesome to see. Yeah, I was kind of the same. I had been punishing myself for several weeks before the event, so I kind of knew what to expect. But mostly my pain was just in my knees, and so that's kind of like my Achilles right now. I got to figure that out. But I think it's like Robert encouraged me to, but I decided not to. But I think I was wishing I would have done the 12. But as we were driving out, I was like, I'm okay with this too. You know, it was a good 6 hours, you know. Nothing but kudos to the guys doing more. Like that, it's just a whole nother level, and they're doing good stuff. So,
And wouldn't you say it's a whole nother level that when you look at the Argent Alpha guys, you just wish that they could continue to grow and prosper and gain confidence and do what's written in the book, harder to kill, and have those wins.
yeah, yeah,
Those
for sure.
wins are so significant in your life, but it takes the work to do the stuff to get the win. And most guys don't want to do the work.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think we're definitely moving towards that type of thing with the September events that we have. You know, it and it's evolving into something like that. It is a big deal, you know. So,
I don't know. Let me just say again, I don't want to hog this thing. I think what happens and happened to me is that I had some of these experiences that I'm in the middle of it, and I have this moment, and I just go, I'm alive. I am living life. I am having the most exciting moment of my life, and nobody can relate to what I'm feeling inside because they just don't get it.
yeah,
And I remember, being out in the Atlantic, rowing across the Atlantic, and I'm underwater in the Atlantic, and I'm washed out of the boat, and I'm going, this is the greatest moment of my life. This is epic. I wish everybody could experience the kind of excitement that's in my soul. And
yeah,
you start to have these wins when you take yourself on. And that's what Argent Alpha is so good at, is start anywhere and then do something that you just go away smiling, going, I did it, no matter what your age. And you then begin to grow that, wow, there's a life outside of the life that I'm living. And I don't want to exist. I really want to have these moments where I go, God, I did this, and you think I'm really capable of lots more. I just have put lids on me.
you know, that brought a thought up, and that's so true. I think the 12 hour and everybody that did it longer than us had an opportunity to experience this. I got a small taste, and maybe JC will have some input on this too. I got a small taste of when, and it was at the very end, JC, we were doing the log PT, right? So we didn't do logs, we had sandbags. They were about 20, 25-pound sandbags. And I mean, we're just holding them over our head for it just increasing. We probably accumulated, what, 15 minutes overhead sandbag holds. And what I've heard, and Robert, you could even back this up. I think you get to a point where you're just like, I don't care anymore. Like I can, whatever it is, I'm just going to keep going. And I got a little taste of that because it was pretty hard holding those sandbags. But I just, for whatever reason, I got a little something extra, and I was just like, I could hold this all day. I don't care anymore. Like I don't care. Just keep it going. You know what I mean? So. I don't know if you experienced that, JC, but there was a tiny bit of that I think the other groups probably got a lot of, you know.
Yeah, I can relate to that. That sandbag exercise killed me. I got sandbags. But what was pretty cool was part of the sandbags, which were just relentless, was at one point you could partner up and team up and hold all your sandbags together. And that started to work. People had creative ways to keep the sand in the air without, it was a little more comfortable. But pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a team moment when stop being an individual and help your teammate. And so you stick your sandbags in the air and you lean into each other. So all of a sudden you have this pyramid and all the sandbags are touching and three of you are holding it instead of one. And they go, see what team does?
Yeah.
Why live your life alone when you can be in a team moment? That was supposed to be a profound thing again, that we can do more with friends and accountability than we can isolated by ourselves suffering alone. And that we hope that you would take that away, like, wow, team is so valuable.
So,
People were pretty good about picking up those that were struggling, like in a positive way. That came through loud and clear.
yeah, Robert, you'll know this part. So they took us down to the sand wash after a while, and we did some boat crew races, where we were all taking the sandbags and then had to get back. And I don't know what you thought, JC, but it was just amazing. Like it was hard to get it together. It was hard for teams to get it together. And so you really had to pull everybody together and really make everybody focus, because 3 out of your 5 boat crew would be going one way, people would be going the other. It was just like, it was a mess, really. And I thought that was fun.
To win those boat races so that you didn't have to do the next task. So
Yeah.
It pays to be a
Pays to
winner.
win. Yeah.
Pays to be a winner.
Yeah.
So Clint,
And that exercise also is meant to be chaos, being frustrated with your teammate.
Yeah.
So you're going to shoot him, you're going to cuss him out, you're going to say, get your act together, or you're going to stay with him
Yeah.
and work with him, which is that mental game of when you're an individual, get rid of that guy, fire him,
Yeah.
but you can't. So then what do you do?
Yeah.
it sounds like that was one of the things you're testing is there's always leadership opportunities, and who's going to step in, who's going to step into the hero role and lead and help and organize. And it sounds like that was one of the things that they're looking for. And did you guys find yourself like stepping into that role? Or were you the chaotic guy that needed to be corralled in?
people do that in different ways, I think, Jack. There were some people, Clint did a really nice job in that area. I would say there were some people in the parking lot that literally, the moment the whistle went off, they're forming lines and, counting people in lines and they were ready for it. And some of those guys were young guys. It's pretty cool. They knew what to do. They saw the opportunity. They did it mostly in a positive way. But it's pretty inspiring, really.
Yeah, there was opportunity to step up for sure. And it was interesting because when some of those people were cold, tired, and wet, that escaped them. You know what I mean? And they might have needed a guide at that point. So there was a lot of opportunities, and I needed leadership and guidance just as much as any of the other guys. You know what I mean? So it was a good. I was thankful for a lot of those guys. The one guy I'm talking about, JC, like he stepped up. In the parking lot, I'm thinking this guy's a commander. He's got us all doing stretches. I'm like, I'm following that guy. Perfect. Ended up, he was like, we were in the same boat crew the whole time. And when he got tired, like there was none of that, and then he started getting yelled at, and he was getting beat on, the first guy to get beat on too, So,
Of course.
yeah. And right, Robert, you're going to stand up, you're going to have to take it. So, but then we had the opportunity to pair up and kind of support each other. So there's a lot of great hero role and then guide role opportunities. And you could be a victim too, right?
Yeah, that particular guy might have, I think it's possible to step up too much. And
Yeah, oh no doubt.
they're like, hey, no, this is our deal, guy. We got this.
Yeah.
Put it back there.
I think JC and I had a conversation because I had been watching a bunch of videos from SEALs and stuff leading up to this, and it was my MO. Like I just wanted to be middle of the pack. I just wanted to, like, if I was going for selection, I just wanted to get through. I didn't need to be picked on. I didn't need to do the most push-ups or the most, like, hey, I'm just here to get through. So, yeah.
So it's like suppressing the ego just in service of the objective, just getting.
Yeah, what's the objective, right? I want to be selected for the next evolution or the next, as a SEAL would go through, being the best at any one thing. And then you're just going to be, you're going to be just crushed and expected to. So it didn't,
All right, I got a couple more questions. So now it's been, 4 days away from it. Any aha moments for you guys, or breakthroughs, or I don't know, anything that as you reflect on it that you're thinking or acting or planning differently than you were on Friday at 9 p.m. JC, how about you?
My body feels a lot better. Few days out. The biggest things I took from them that I'm going to continue on is I really like the SEAL mindset approach. I'm just fascinated with, there's a lot of F-bombs and there's a lot of yelling, but at the core, they're actually amazing leaders and positive leaders, and have a I think Divine described it as sort of an operating system on how they think about what they think about. And so I want to do some more work there, and I'll probably read more. I'll probably read a couple more Divine books and maybe find some of these other related authors, because I'm very interested in that mindset area. And the other one is I'm gonna go to work on the things that I got exposed on. I got shoulder mobility that's just not where I'd like it to be, and it's decades of unwinding bad form, but I think it's on the table to get that squared away and strengthen that training. But
If Brock Harling's listening, he's going to DM you immediately after this.
Hey, we talked about Brock too. We go, oh, he would be all over us right now.
How about you, Clint? What's next? What'd you come away with?
You know what? I just came away with this just came at such a great time for me. I needed, we have the September event where we're going to be training for, or we are training for, but I always need to have something in my future. Like I need to do it at a level that is not like doesn't take away from other things, but I always want to have a physical something that I'm training for. That just sealed it really. I've always loved this type of thing. You guys know I do the sandbag Saturdays and things like that, which it's definitely challenging. I like the idea of a structured event to test me too. So I think I always want to have something like that on the table.
I love that sandbag Saturdays. I got to talk to Brock and Nolan about adding that in. We've got Wicked Wednesday workouts, which are Michael Easter talks about this as doing one hard workout a week, and that's our Wicked Wednesday workouts. But sandbag Saturday is like, well, why can't that be another option in there?
Jag, why you're down here? Why don't you come witness it, and you'll get a good taste.
Maybe I brought my sandbags along from last year.
They bring them, you should come see the one that I do just for
yeah. Well, hey, let's talk about that. Maybe that's
it's your son-in-law and Max if they're up. So
oh gosh.
Hey, let me just mention something. As you said, I really like this thing to look forward to, this physical thing. Well, you're physical. Some guys aren't as physical with you, but the principle is the same. Like Jag just got done with his book, and he wrote in his newsletters, I'm focused on getting this book out by a certain time. The thing that you're looking forward to could be a myriad of things, but always having something that you're working towards that keeps you locked in so that you don't drift. And it could be mental, it could be physical, it could be relational, it could be a number of things. But most guys are just existing, going through, and they don't have any focus points. And it's not that you got to be a type A personality. It's not that you got to always have task. But we know, as Eldridge's book, we need to have those three things that keep us in the game. Just a thought. Old Testament scripture says this: in the springtime, when the men go off to war. Mm-hmm. Imagine you lived in a culture that every spring you had to get ready to go out to war again. You get done with your war, you come home, you get your wife pregnant, you raise your kids, you do your crops, your fields, and then, okay, it's just about time to go to war again. There was something that kept them in the game all the time. They couldn't stray too much. And so we American men, we stray. We're comfort driven. We're not locked in with buddies that keep us on the edge. Or we do it for 4 or 5 years, then we back off. So it's important to know that we're best when we're locked in on something. Mm-hmm. And something that we say, oh, we have an accountability date or blah, blah, blah. So for those listening again, it's a choice for you to choose to focus on something consistently where you're challenged mentally, emotionally, physically, relationally, financially, and you step up. It'll keep you sharp. Most men don't employ that in their lives, and they drift, and they have capabilities that are never, ever utilized.
Mm-hmm. And a piggyback, and J.C. and Clint pile on with this. I'd encourage guys, like, you're going to come up with all these noble excuses. I don't want to get hurt, and I'm busy and I got a business, I got food to put on the table, blah, all these things. Once you get through all those, commit to something and start small. Start with something that you can digest. It might be, for some guys, it's a 3-mile ruck with 20 pounds on their back or 10 pounds, but you got to start. But we all go through this negotiating. Robert talked about the snakes in the mines, and man, what I've been focusing on is how do I get less of time in the negotiating, more time into planning what's my successful route to achieve that objective. And you can't do both at the same time. Like, that's what I love about these Wicked Wednesday workouts. It's like, okay, I got to do 90 minutes of these things. Okay, what's my pace at the beginning? How do I want to finish? And then you get out of that whole negotiating part. You're about doing it, and then you just go do it. You don't plan it. Well, I'll start tomorrow. No, start right, like 10 minutes after you do your plan. Go do it.
Yeah, that was the thought that was coming to mind for all of this. Just start.
Yeah.
Just start. You know what I mean? Because you're not going to know until you start.
Yeah, we overthink things way too much.
Yeah.
Hey, last thing I want to ask you guys. So, connect any dots that you can. How did Argent Alpha, the Alpha Triad, Future Self, Alpha 5 Standards, the RAD process, anything in there? Like, what helped you in this event? Like, how did it arm you? Was there anything that, God, I'm glad I did this? And I'm just looking for guys listening, if they've read the book or they're members of Argent Alpha, like how you can attach these things and how they work together. Is there anything specific that you like just pops into your head?
For me, it perfectly aligns. Like there's no distinction. So my future self, vision is somebody that does these types of things. Is somebody that does hard things. It aligned perfectly. They talked about having a why and even a mantra. I already know my why is the same as my why in Argent Alpha. I'm becoming the best version of myself. And my
Hey, is that what you told the instructor when he got in your face and said, "What's why?"
They never asked me.
They
and
didn't?
The one thing I was hoping I would be able to remember that, like, and not just have a goofy look on my face while he's spraying me. But I was prepared. I thought I was prepared as I could. And then my 3 words were my mantra. Like it completely aligned flawlessly. There was no separation. So.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the listeners, when these guys are shaking with nervousness before the guns go off, the instructor will come, usually stand in front of your face and say, "Why you're here? What's your why?" And because they want to know so they can crush it. And so, so you have to say, "I'm doing this for my wife," or "I'm doing this to be a better man." Or they say, "Oh, you want to be a better man? Great, we'll see." And so they sort of get in your head, make you smile, but they want to get a read on why you're there. So it's really important that you know what your why is while you're there.
I was actually nervous about that. Like, am I going to remember? Am I going to be able to say it? So.
That was well said, Robert, and Clint. I couldn't agree with you more. Between what we do every month and in terms of the Alpha 5 and then testing at the end of the month and adjusting after some of those results aligned quite well. Certainly a lot of the mindset things aligned well. My why was my why was even closer tied. It was just harder to kill. Like, why are you here? I'm trying to get harder to kill so I can live live healthy longer and impact more people. And I practiced that with my daughter spraying a hose at me a few times. So, but it was true. I think, certainly grateful for the event and very grateful for all the work you've done, Jag, to set up Argent Alpha and encourage people to take some pages from others.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah.
I see the same similarities from guys doing the rim to rim or whatever a lot of our guys are doing. It's all the same. It's a hard physical challenge and the reason behind it.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, it's funny, the Misogi, again, we're all familiar with the Misogi, and Michael Easter talks about it in the Comfort Crisis. And I think some guys, they make that too small. It's like, this can be anything, mental, spiritual, physical, combination of all 3. And it's just what's hard for you, and then go get it, go after it. I mean, I keep a buddy of mine who's a wrestling coach. He used to have a shirt on the back of it. This was back in 2008 when times were a little bit different, and the shirt said, "We take what we want."
Mhm.
And I just love that line because it's just about, it's very, there's no uncertainty there, you know. We take what we want. I mean, it's just something about that. And I think that's for guys, anybody listening to this, like, go get what's yours. You know, it's out there. This ties into the 20X. None of us are at our ceilings right now. There's so much room above our heads. So, well, that's awesome. Any last comments from you guys? Robert, anything you want to just capstone this thing with?
I'm just really proud of you. And I just know that you'll never be the same. You'll always smile when you think about it. I have my class picture in my bathroom in a 24 by 18, you know, with the log next to me. And I'm out of my mind, and they want to have me open my eyes for a picture. And, you know, I just have that moment to remind me that there's more capability in all of us than we give ourselves credit. We just have to want it bad enough. And there's no obstacles when you want something bad enough. And so I'm proud of you guys. And for all of you listening, we so really want you to experience something where you just slap yourself and go, God, I did it, you know, and do that ever increasingly where you just enjoy the new you that wants to come out. So we're happy for you.
That's awesome.
And there's no age limit. I mean, Robert, what level are you now? 70?
Hey, let's not go there.
No, this is out of
listen.
out of deference.
Listen, out of deference. Yeah, you know, Sam Taggart, he's on YouTube, all the stuff with D2D. Anyway, I interviewed Sam, or he interviews me on his podcast, and he says, "You're the first elderly person I've ever interviewed."
Oh.
And I go, "What?" And he goes, "Oh, sorry." I go, you call me elderly, you know? Anyway, when I got there, they said, "Owens, what's your why?" And I said, "I want to prove that a 66-year-old can do what he did in his 20s. And they said, "We don't think you can do it." I said, "Yes, sir." And that was it. You know, game on. You know? And I just went, "Oh, I should have kept my mouth shut." You know,
They showed no mercy to you.
Oh,
We
no,
don't
they
think you
said
can do it.
every 2 minutes was an F-bomb of, "You're a effing embarrassment. You're effing old. Why don't you effing do us all a favor and leave, you know, for 50 hours.
No, that's great. And the reason, the only reason I think a number is relevant is to show that it's not relevant. The oldest guy in the most senior is 77, and he's a stud, and the youngest is 51. So, if you're listening to this, you're not too old. Don't use that as a noble excuse. Like, well, the guy's my age. One of my pet phrases I hate. What do you mean, guys my age? Look at this call, guys my age, all doing awesome things. So get a new crew if you're thinking that way.
Yeah.
Upgrade your crew. J.C., how about you? Any parting thoughts?
You know, I'm grateful to Robert for you know, giving us the encouragement to do this. I was sitting on the decision for a while, and a couple of those calls just kicked it into gear. So thankful for that. The other thing I'd add is you know, the Navy SEALs have a saying about commitments that the older they get, the bigger commitments they're trying to make and keep them. Making big commitments and keeping them is a pretty cool concept. So I'm gonna hold on to that one.
That's great. Clint?
As I'm just thinking, like, how cool is it that JC, you know, called me, flew, you know, halfway across the country, you know, from our friendship here in Argent Alpha. And I think that's an awesome thing. And I just want to implore anybody that's watching this, especially our Argent Alpha guys, like, hey, call a buddy, go do something cool, you know. And we're seeing that more and more. More guys are teaming up and doing more things. And how great would it be just to see that get exponential? Guys just doing, you know, we could have a ton of these types of videos where guys are just doing awesome stuff, inspiring all of us, you know. So
Hey, I got to throw in here, you know, if you guys are really, really excited, there are still people flying me in to give them 12-hour nonstop workouts. so if you want to set the tone, you know, yeah, let me know. We'll give Argent Alpha guys the 3-hour and the 6-hour and the 12-hour. and we'll have fun doing it. And, you know, the camaraderie will be great. Anyway, it's always possible.
Hey, Robert, we still talk about that at the event last September, and we've done most of the event. We're marching back to Twin Town Fitness, and we're all just waiting for you to tell us down. And and it never came, but it was like that was almost worse than not having us do it, because we're just the anticipation of we're all weary, we're just hiking back, rucking back, and just like, when's he going to do it? And then we're getting close, like, I don't think he's going to do it. Do you think he's going to do it? But that's fun. The PSYOP part of that whole thing was fun.
The march back was so fun because everybody was happy. Everybody win. Everybody had done it, and you know, why mess it up by dropping it unless you wanted to? I was just enjoying watching all the guys with all the camaraderie.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. And we'll talk to you guys all soon.
Awesome.
Congratulations.